Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Okay, so today is May 28th, Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to all you Americans, and especially all the vets that help us have freedom. Without them, we would be having a different past or a different present day. Anyways, today I just wanted to go over both a technical and do a free analysis for everybody. This is usually done for my quant analytics members. I've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, almost every day. But I just wanted to show you the impacts of where things have been going. Okay, so yesterday I was on my site doing usual stuff. I posted this news item. This is a very, very big one. This came out May 20th this year, 2017, where Yahoo discontinued its free historical data APIs. That's going to kill off so many scripts out there. It ain't funny, that rely on the data reader. So now you have Google Finance, but it's not nowhere as good as Yahoo was. So I'm going to rely more on the commercial without any limitations. So what I've done is I put out a very simple Python script for both Python 2 and 3 runs, and you can do charting. So where does that impact my other members? Basically, it impacts you with different types of charts, more flexibility. But I always still like to do the human element. I think it's really important because computers can only do so much, and they're only as smart as their authors. So the human element's always going to be better at finding ideas and patterns, and the idea is to develop what's turning out to be as many Python scripts to do analysis and generating trading ideas for you, where you set the rules in each script that can be used as an alert in your system, saying here's a market opportunity, a trading opportunity coming about. All right. So as I mentioned, the Yahoo Finance is pretty well no good. That's why there's been a delay in the last few days with no updates on this analysis, trying to find decent sources to go. So I'm using a combination of Market Watch, which pretty well has the same functionality as Yahoo, but I don't think you can download data. But from a visual perspective on their site, it's fine. The other thing is I don't think they have an API. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. If they did, I might look into it. Okay, so let's talk about the first alert. This one's kind of funny because people go, well, how can you know when the markets are turning? A classic example is you look at the S&P 500, which is here in blue, the SPX. You can see the growth here. And what's this one in green? Well, this is an absolute confirmation. When you look at the economic rise of this particular stock, it's done well up until this point. And what is that point? Well, you're looking in green is Tiffany's, the diamond retailer. So they've done really bad, and that is a great reflection on the economy. Yes, it is very lagging, but it's just like the absolute dead-on confirmation tool that you could use to say, yes, the economy is tanking officially because no one's buying diamonds, which means nobody's not doing well in the economy because they don't have that kind of disposable income. Either that or, people are losing faith in marriage or something. I don't know. But I think that's a great little hint right there of what happened with this big drop. And that was 523 a few days ago. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about trading. Now, if you're like me and you're looking at a lot of countries are not doing too well globally. The big one that's kind of scary is a lot of countries are doing crap. So no matter what economist you talk to, no matter who you listen to, this is a great stat to measure on how your country's doing and how it will greatly affect your future. So there's the OECD. They have a set of countries here that you can measure and see how their economies are doing, which will obviously impact your relationship with the government that you pay tax to. Now, check this out. This is the current balance, okay? Now, this is the total percent of GDP. So it's a current balance against their GDP. So it's basically measuring every quarter against their quarterly GDP. And it's a great measurement where it's negative is not doing too good, positive is doing well. And there's not a lot of positives here. So let me show you the US. Everyone's really interested. The US is still overall running at a negative. So this is the latest here up until the end of 2016. It's not too bad, -2. I still wouldn't be, I would be somewhat concerned. But here, when you look at the UK, it's still negative, but you get bigger dips from a negative point of view, -5.7. Those are big dips. That tells you the economy just doesn't have a large enough industry or services to generate a higher GDP, and their debt levels are just way out of control. But then when you look at the other end of it, specifically like, let's say Germany, okay, here's the G7, this one right here, you can see it's just slightly negative. That's still not too good. But when you look at Germany here, you see how positive they are, 9.73, 7.65. Even though their immigration, they can seem to be absorbing it, their industry's doing well, they run positive current balances, that's a good sign of economy. And there's a lot of resentment from people or presidents like Trump that just don't like that, because they don't like the fact that they feel that the Germans are exploiting, let's say, the U.S. economy. That is a pile of crap, because Germans, as we know, are totally different when it comes from a fiscal policy point of view. Now, when you look at countries like Canada, they're not doing too good either. They're just as bad as the U.S., so that's not a good sign for me, which is why I'm looking at this. Brazil, obviously, I just put up a Facebook posting on the political turmoil on Brazil. It's pretty bad over there. Austria, they're not doing too bad, so that's an option. The other country that really, actually, there's France as well, slightly negative. They're nowhere as bad as the UK, let's say, or the US. Then we have Italy. They seem to can have it together. Italy, even though it's weird. Maybe Greece is in here. Look at Greece. -11, -10.95. That's insane. Slightly getting better. They are definitely controlling their economy. And then the one, Ireland's another one. Positive. Look at this. Ireland's just on fire. Wow. But look, their last -13. So too volatile. Let's see. A good country that I'm really interested in is Switzerland. Look at Switzerland. 16, 11. Just really very positive there versus all the other countries. Russia. Here's another one. Positive, slightly negative. So you can dump on all you want about Russia. They seem to be doing it right with this kind of a relationship. And China was another interesting one as well from a trade perspective. Here it's all positive because they have more exports, obviously, but it's just starting to dip a bit. So these are the sort of things that Trump likes to look at. Japan's not doing too bad either, but I'll put this link up. I'm very fascinated by these kind of stats. Okay, now the other big thing is we want to watch oil price. Oil price right now, despite there is an agreement with OPEC and Russia on oil supply, check this out. If you want to see how the U.S., which is not part of that agreement, and OPEC is desperately trying to bring in the U.S. to agree to all this, because really U.S. is the largest market for oil. I think outside, maybe China's bigger now. But obviously the U.S. is quite big. But you can always measure how the overall rig count of drilling in the U.S., which really here up until this point, January, it seems to be, is it weekly? Yes, it's weekly. So you can see it's starting to tick up a bit. So very interesting. I'll put that link on my blog as well. Now, the other big one was, where's my oil? Okay, well, that's one. Uh,
Hey there, how's your trading
we
going?
don't care
Let
about
me show
E.
you.
Hang on, we'll get that. So U.S. crude oil production. EIA, yes. So we have here, this is now the EIA. So you can see here, oil is starting to go up. That's how much drilling is going on in the U.S. And they're the real uh, card that really impacts oil price because of the global oil supply. They're probably up in the top as an influence on price because of their market. But there was another interesting let's see if we can track it. Yeah, so you can see all the oil production here for the year. Okay, so interesting things that you should be on the lookout for regarding all this. Okay, so that's all that. Have a good one. Talk to you later.